Castro as the weapon carry. They are definitely going for that Fox. In return, we do see Ataka and then Glaive being banned out. And of course, an Arden being picked out for the side of Infamous.
Yeah. For this kind of ban, I guess banning out the Glaive, they just really don't want Team ASN to play on that aggression line, which their team is quite popular for. So banning out this kind of aggressive hero is quite an advantage to Team Infamous. And for the team of Team ASN, banning out Taka, that's a great ban that opens up a lot of space for Baron. But in my opinion, there could be greater bans for them because they have the Lyra to deal with a Taka if it's available for a pick. But they opted for a Batiste. Yeah.
We just hear Batiste being picked out, and in response to that, of course, that Celeste has been so prominent in the current meta with a lot of teams prioritizing ban or picking out that Celeste. I mean, we did see in the previous games as well, Celeste has been top dog in a lot of those games. It's either Celeste helping the entire team bring back the game, if not, then just steamroll through the early game. So to complete the comp coming up from the side of Infamous, we have Vox, we have Glaive, and of course we have the Celeste. And then on the side of ASN Gaming, we have Lyra, Baron, and Batiste. One thing to note, though, the side of ASN Gaming, they have the late game team comp with that Baron, and of course, you know, they have this other CC as well in terms of Ordain, and of course Fearsome Shade, which is one of those CC that's really annoying to deal with. It's one of the big ultimates as well, out of all heroes. And of course, on the side of Team Infamous, they do not have a lot of CCs. We do not count Arden's Gauntlet as a form of CC. I mean, it's a zoning ultimate, but it's not really a form of CC. Of course, we have the Core Collapse coming out from Celeste, and you can chain that with Wait For It coming out from Vox, which would silence for a mere second. So, honestly, who would you put your money on? I mean, I'm looking both of these team comps, and I really like the team comp coming out from the side of ASN. What about yourself?
Well, I will put my money on Team Infamous, not because of their absolutely amazing mechanical play, but my question is, how can they engage to Celeste? Yeah, so that's the question for tonight.
So you are seeing a problem with jumping on top of Celeste, then you may be forgetting the fact that Arcane Passage is a thing. You can get through Arcane Passage, jump right on top of Celeste, and just take Celeste out. I mean, that would be ASN's main method of engagement and, in fact, dive. You have the Batiste to just stop Arden. If not, then stop Vox as well. There is one thing I must note on the Celeste as well. Celeste is such a strong hero. You don't really need the level 8 to be strong, as long as you can land those Helios pre-level 8 and quite zone the enemies out. And of course, if you land those Helios, you work it into a Supernova, enemies will definitely be eliminated. There is one thing though, with every Lyra picked up, and if you Arcane Passage in any Bright Ball, and if you cannot Crucible out the Core Collapse that would be coming out from Celeste, then it will be very troublesome for yourself.
Yep, so we're gonna all eyes on that boy right again. Previous matches against, will he repeat his previous mistake, which is a Arcane Passage into a Celeste and get Core Collapse? So I'm pretty sure that ASN realized this already. They're going to say that, look, we're going to border through in and remember the Crucible, all right, Tessa Boy? And if they manage to pull that right, they can take down Celeste. But must remember, you're closing the gap within Vox. So that's a problem as well.
Definitely, that would be a problem. I'm expecting very early Atlas Pauldron for that Vox. Anyways, we are right into the foe, and casting alongside me, and of course, hyping this game up, we have I Request a Duo.
What is up? I'm sorry if I just blew a million viewers' eardrums, but no, we probably don't have that many. We are back, but I'd hope we have a good amount because we are in the finals between Infamous and ASN, and it's sure to be a big match. You can see by the drafting here, both teams drafting fairly well, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they are drafting really well, and of course, you have Uni on that Vox, which can sustain the damage coming up from Baron in the mid-game, and not even in the mid-game, in the early game, once Uni do pick up that Poison Shift. And so, and it's going to help Uni as well sustain in lane and just stay in lane. Oh, SNK. Tezza Boy just face checking into an Ardent. SNK is bringing Tezza the Boy down to very, very low.
Oh, SNK actually rotating down into that jungle initially where they found Tezza Boy, because we've seen Tezza Boy with this do this play so much where they go into the enemy jungle on that Lyra, and it really goes into Tezza Boy's playstyle being so aggressive on the roamers they pick up. So not surprised there. I don't think they were able to steal it out, however, and I'm not too sure who the middle camp went over to, but looking at Spig A's farm, it could have been them.
It could have been indeed. I mean, Spaghetti is sitting at a comfortable 6 as compared to Chingy's 12 as compared to Chingy's 6. So they are doing rather well. I mean, they are not having any early aggression, especially when you are when you are Spaghetti. Wow, that is wow. When you are Celeste, when you are Celeste, you do not quite want to be early aggressive. I mean, you have the firepower to be, right? And I just realized something. They are running the fodder and they are running the family team comp with
the family team comp.
Yeah, the family package. So anyways, back to my point, you do not want to try to be aggressive up against, say, a Baptiste in the early game. Granted, you can quite burst him down, but then if Baptiste is empowered, then you may face a lot of damage coming out from the Baptiste with the bad mojo. And of course, if you do try to run away, and there is always an Ordain that you must consider. Honestly, being in lane, I'm quite expecting a rather passive gameplay from both of these teams. Celeste needs the levels, needs the item, and of course, Uni can only start being aggressive, or I can see Uni being a little more aggressive only when he gets the poison ship, or maybe I take that back. He's putting out a lot of damage on Tezza Boy. But like we said, and we've been saying it a lot, that Tezza Boy plays Lyra and plays the roamer so haphazardly. He just goes in whether or not there is a team to back him up.
And so far, I think that the damage coming out from the side of ASN is really going to rely on those ganks by Chingy. And you see Chingy going up there with the bad mojo, not able to find a target, but they did find Spaghetti in the jungle. They're going to look for the lockdown. Ordain isn't up just yet, but the bad mojo doing so much right now. They're able to pick up the first blood for the side of ASN. And they're moving on to SNK. You can see the Imperial Sigil just keeping Tezza Boy alive barely. And they're going to find the double kill onto Uni there and get the ace for ASN.
That was a 3-minute ace for the side of ASN. I take back whatever they say about being really passive in the game. I mean, we do see Aeon on this Baron putting out so much damage in the early game, securing already 2 kills for himself. I mean, we cannot discount the fact that Baptiste put in a lot of damage on Spaghetti when he was empowered. Anyways, a quick update for all the viewers out there for the match, for the third place match between Impunity and Bren Chong. Impunity did take that game 2-1 and won that third place in mere 14 minutes. So good game, very well played to the side of Impunity. Anyways, back to this game, we do see an early ace coming out for the side of ASN, just giving them that slight lead, although, I mean, slight lead in terms of kills on the scoreboard, but gold-wise, it's kind of even with just, like, say, 300 gold lead for the side of ASN.
And it might just be more of the confidence boost that ASN need moving into this final matchup against the Giants that are infamous. So it is good to see that the initial kills going to what you might consider be the underdogs, and Chingy sitting in the jungle waiting, does have there's some shade up and manages to secure the kill with a final hit, but is going low to that Crystal Sentry and it's going to get picked up by SNK. But you can see the damage already coming out from Chingy on that Baptiste with the Shatter Glass.
Well, yeah, I mean, Shatter Glass is generally the first pickup, and you don't really need that. You just need your Heavy Prism to deal a lot of damage, and then we do see Aeon
needs to be careful there. Tezza Boy is going to go in with the... Tezza Boy, you need to be careful because Aeon could receive some of that resonance damage and stop him from backing. And you see Infamous right now being very aggressive up in this lane, taking the opportunity, knowing that Aeon went back to base. They've taken out Tezza Boy, and they're probably going to take the first turret of the game. they tell ASN, you guys got the first ace, but we're going to take the first objective. And I think it's very much so like Infamous to do so in terms of having that kind of lane pressure.
I mean, Infamous have got such better macro management overall as compared to ASN. There is a reason they are top team. Although, granted, like you said, ASN did manage to get the early ace, but then there was nothing that they could get out of it. There was no turrets, nothing at all. And I guess that is where Infamous has got a one-up onto that of ASN. Although ASN is applying a lot of pressure right now and Ching is up in lane, we might see another possible engage.
Yeah, perhaps. It looks like just a bit of poke damage between the two teams, but ASN definitely wanting a return turret after what happened, and they're not going to so easily back off here, but Infamous might just force them to, as it's going to be SNK going in. There's more ordained on Uni. He has to back out of that to dodge out from the Porcupine Mortars, and there's going to be the Fountain of Renewal having to be used on the side of Infamous, and they managed to back out of it for now, but ASN sticking around. They rarely want this turret, but the minions cleared out instantly. Spaghetti on that level 8 for Celeste now has a bit more range. Ordain going down once again, and Bad Mojo doing tons of damage, followed up by Fearsome Shade. They're able to secure the kill onto Box and pushing SNK and Spaghetti back. Fizz Iron Cannon isn't going to hit, but you can see the side of it for the solo right now, and Solar Storm gonna pick up the kill onto Tessa Boy. Kills just popping off everywhere between these two teams. However, ASN not able to make the final push they needed onto that objective. It is very tough when diving onto a hero that has the Vanguard given to them by Arden, because it makes it just, they get the speed boost and it makes it harder for you to kill them there. And I think it is a very good pickup to have the Arden, whether they wanted to just have the family combo or, you know, if they actually want, Arden would be good in this situation because it does synergize well with a hero like Celeste, who is kind of immobile in a lot of cases. So it can help them get out of a lot of bad situations.
Definitely, I must agree with you. I mean, Celeste, as generally all majors are rather immobile because of how they need to stand there. Oh, the ASN Chingy might be going for Uni at this point in time.
Chingy does put Ordain down, followed up by Bad Mojo. There's going to be the bright bulwark to try keep him out for a second, and it looks like Chingy isn't able to block that one, but they managed to get out of it alive anyway. There's a lot of heliogenesis going down, or genocide, I don't know how we should say that. And there's Chingy once again with the Fearsome Shade. A big engage coming out from ASN, but the disengage from the side of Infamous is strong enough to push them back, and you see Tezza Boy going very low, getting clipped by the Solar Storm this time, not going to go down, but Spaghetti low in energy. I think Infamous realizing they have to back out from this one.
Well, they have to indeed. I'm not sure why Gold Miner was started, probably as a distraction for the side of ASN.
Oh my, the massive damage going down onto Chingy. And then that's from Vox alone, I believe, with that tension bow. It's just crazy right now. Chingy with no defense, and that is gonna hurt.
That will hurt indeed. I mean, you are forcing Chingy to go back. You don't really need kills to secure objectives at the end of the day. You really just need, you know, them to be low enough, forcing them to all part back, and then you have free reign on the objectives, or rather say turret, or even that of Goldmine. We do see Spaghetti just roaming up, just trying to have rendezvous with his team, catching Chingy out. Chingy do use Ordain on Spaghetti.
And we see Chingy might be the one in trouble now, as Tezboy is going to get chased down and split away from Chingy, and they now have Chingy on the run on his own. He has a bit of lifesteal built into his kit, but it's not going to be enough. Ion Cannon dropping on the team of Infamous, but they're going to get out of there fairly unscathed and return to lane, where they have, and this is the thing, ASN had a bit of a cheeky start, to say if anything, or a strong start, but Infamous have now regained control of this, and because of their lane pressure, and that's where so much of the current meta is about which lane is going to get ahead. Right now, Uni doing a great job sitting on 101 CS over to the A9 of Baron, but Baron is in no way not able to put out the damage, as we see there, and Tezza Boy able to secure the kill, and they're going to try chase down Spaghetti, who's fairly low at the moment, but Spaghetti luckily going to find the safety of that turret. However, SNK might not, as the damage comes raining in from Aeon, but he's tanky enough to survive through that. And I think this is a problem with ASN right now. They really need to just get some more objectives taken under their own belt, and they want to push this turret in. But they need to be careful because Vox is returning to this lane, and you see Aeon jumping out there, actually walking back into the gauntlet, and Uni has returned to the fight. He's going to get ordained and just mounted down. Luckily blocks out most of it, but ASN still unable to find this objective they want. They push Uni back to under half health, and if they go in for another engage, they might be able to pick up the kill, but Spaghetti still on the back line. Hasn't got back to base yet. Might need to refresh on that energy as we see SNK getting low, and Uni being the next target. Spaghetti going in with a Solar Storm and picking up another snipe onto Baron.
That was really impressive coming out from the side of Infamous, managing to hold it for so long, although like both of them, like both Spaghetti and Uni was really down to close to no energy, and health-wise as well, they really had nothing. But at the end of the day, they did manage to pick up the kill, and of course, just to push the lead even further, they are going for the gold mine. Ooh, Imperial Siege drop and gets stolen by that of Lyra. Definitely, of course, right? Tezabor and this Lyra.
And not going to miss an opportunity there, as we see the current gold lead for the side of Infamous not being too far ahead. They got 26.2k over to the 24.9k, just turning over to 25k on the side of ASN. So it's still a fairly close game, and in terms of damage as well. But you can see the difference in defense right now. For the side of Infamous, who have a fair bit of armor on their side, really focusing on shutting down that Baron early on. Because if you let the Baron get built up through the mid and early game, and then he just becomes such a powerhouse and is undealable in the late game. So they obviously know how to deal with this Baron from experience, and I think it is another thing that comes down to them being one of the top teams. There's going to be Iron Cannon on the turret. They're finally looking for it, but the wait for it's going to come out in response, followed up by the Gauntlet, and a bunch of CC drop down onto Baron. He's stuck in that Gauntlet wall, and Uni going to follow through, has the support of the Fountain of Renewal, and they can just jump in there and chase through with that. There's no Echo yet on SNK, however, so there's not going to be another Gauntlet coming up to secure the kill, but he will tank up the damage from turret as his team managed to take a turret in response. So still putting ASN on the back foot for the most part, but I think it was also kind of expected to be seen and going up against the top team. That ASN, you talked about behind the macro plays, it just comes down to them having to give their best, and they got here for a reason. So I believe ASN have a hope, but you can see how well Infamous are just controlling this match.
Definitely, I mean, they do have the control, but at the end of the day, gold speaks difference between teams, especially in a tourney like that, when although you may have like even kill lead and you might have even objectives, but then it's really just down to how much gold lead you have over the other team. If you have a substantial gold lead, then you can definitely close out the game earlier than expected, and then Infamous are known for doing that. They might have another engage at this point in time.
And we see Infamous maybe getting ready, but Gauntlet isn't up, so I think they're gonna hold out for now. Maybe just trade some poke damage. Spaghetti with a long range on most Heliogenesis at the moment, and Aeon gonna take a fair bit, forced to use that jump jets defensively, and it's gonna be Uni jumping in, trying to fight it on a 2v1 situation into Tezabor and Aeon, but there's gonna be Spaghetti. Actually, we should take a look at Chingy, who's trying to dive on the backline, trying to find Uni right now, and Spaghetti's going to get caught out alone, and this is the problem when you leave Spaghetti alone on that Celeste, because they can't escape on their own. They need the help of SNK, but SNK is also going to fall. Uni is able to back to base, however, and this could be the chance for ASN to take that return turret and even the playing field right now. And Vox needs to be careful to not get caught out here. Chingy could go in with Ordain, which he does, but they're not going to follow through with it, or I might be wrong, Aeon jumping in just for a bit of pressure there, and they're going to turn around to this Kraken right now.
Well, they might be going for the Kraken, but then all of them is low on energy. Both Chingy and Tezabor will be porting home, Aeon included as well. You know, they have a really good late game, and the side of Infamous kind of disregarding how good their late game really is on that Baptiste, and of course Baron, Aeon 222 on that Baron. He's going for that Sorrow Blade, Tension Bow, and of course Double Tyrant's Monaco, the build that I always urge players to go for because of how strong that build really is. The next fight will be happening around Kraken as both teams posture up and try to catch each other out. In Uni, however, picking out Vox into Baron, it's really good, but then problem is that you cannot quite dive and sustain your damage against Aeon if Aeon do retaliate. The only reason for a few fights Uni can come out on top as compared to this Baron, it's really just because Uni managed to build up a lot of stacks on Aeon 222 because of the lack of defense coming out from Aeon. Anyways, we're starting to creep into the late game right now. Celeste has completed the 3 core damage items, and on top of that, a metal jacket as well. Uni is close to full build, just needs to get the boots up. And as we are looking at Chingy, Chingy is struggling to get to the broken myth. Okay, so no fight is happening. I was really hoping for a fight to happen at a point in time, because honestly, it is just down to this fight, and seeing how well both of the teams are playing, even Infamous has to be wary and cannot discount the ability coming out from the side of ASN Gaming.
And it looks like Infamous wanting to drag that fight more so into their own jungle. Tezzaboy going in with the portal, followed up by the Bright Bulwark. That's going to be a crucial ultimate down, at least in terms of engagement. I don't know where Spaghetti's backing off there and didn't just corner out onto that Lyra, but Infamous obviously making that decision to just hold up in their base. And they're respecting the damage coming out from ASN now, and they understand it. You see Uni able to buy that weapon infusion, so it might be a go sign for the side of Infamous here as they return to the lane. Spaghetti, however, half health at the moment and having to back off. I wonder if ASN are going to have the courage that we've seen of other teams just rush Kraken, but it looks like they're going to wait it out, and they know that Infamous are going to come looking. They don't flare the top rush, and they're going to go in. There's the stun onto Uni, there's the Bright Bulwark, and it's followed up by the Ion Cannon. They managed to get the kill. There's Solar Storm in return, followed up with the Gauntlet as well to keep them in there, but it's a 3v1 situation. ASM with the ace! And that is massive. 17 minutes, 55 seconds into the game. They're able to take that anchor turret. They might look to take it all. ASN needs to be careful to not get greedy. They still have 15 seconds up left before Uni is back up. They might be able to take one turret with the damage they have, but they really do need to be careful. It'd be better if they could split the damage, but the minions haven't moved on just yet, and now they're going to back out of the base. They're going to try. The Gauntlet isn't up. Echo wasn't used previously, so he's not going to have that available, but they're still going to be able to chase ASN out there. Do you think that's the right play, or they should have gone for Kraken to really have that safe and secure?
Well, I mean, if they are looking to end game, then definitely Kraken would be the better choice. But then just to push Infamous out of their comfort zone by rushing another turret, it is, I think, the cleverer pickup overall. They are going to posture for it. They are posturing for another fight. I mean, Spaghetti on this Celeste, she's doing really, really well. Except for the fact that in that fight, it was a lot of Uni and SNK being in the front line, just taking up way too much damage, deleting them. Oh, they are coming in from the top.
The top rush, SNK gonna face check that one, and then flaring it out. Now, you do have the Celeste available to get some of that vision down, but they need to be so careful because one stun could mean the engagement, where we see the Ordain come down. Tezzaboy's looking for something. He's caught in the Gauntlet alone. Is going to use the Bright Bulwark to save himself in there, and actually pushing Infamous off. And you were right about that. Infamous in an uncomfortable situation where ASN just in control right now. And look at this placement. Look at these plays coming out by ASN. The positioning and the ideas. No, not again. We might see it once, but Spaghetti is nearby. Probably going to be up flat and core collapse. But look at the damage coming out of this turret. They get the turret. Aeon's low. The fountain goes down. They're working on the crystal. They can't find Aeon. And Tezzaboy is able to finish off with Chiggy. It doesn't matter. That's ASN taking the first game. We see it once again where it's just insane. These teams picking up Lyra. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Lyra as a next ban, because we've seen it so much in Split 2, where the Lyra goes in with the backdoor. And it's just insane because you never know how close it's going to be. You never know which way the team fight's going to go when these matches are so tough like this. And ASN pulling it off 20 minutes, 14 in, 11 kills to 6. You know, that is a great show.